Welcome everybody watching the show after the show. It's myself, Matt Quirk, here with Brian Fife, our cohorts in crime. And we just wanted to jump on after another great mastermind today and kind of go over a couple pieces of valuable takeaways that we had from the mastermind. So I'll kick things off, and then Brian will chat about it, right? So one of the things that came up was trying to. So one of our members, she had a physical location, really trying to figure out how to translate the same customer experience that she gave to her customers in her in-person shop and her physical location into the digital journey. And so one of the pieces of advice that came up was to, if you're really happy with the way that you present yourself and the way that you interact with people in real life, map it out, like literally write the things down and make sure that you're paying special attention to the language that you choose to use when you're in person with someone. And so you can make sure that every step along the journey that you take. So for example, if you're doing a YouTube video and you're linking someone back to your website, make sure that that journey is as consistent as it could be when you're doing it in person. So if you've got a video that's talking about clothing and the clothing or how to wear the clothing that you sell as your product in your business, then you link people in the description on YouTube back to that particular item or type of clothing on your website, and you can continue that journey. So you're making it easy for them to get to from point A to point B rather than from point A to point F to point G to point B. If you sent them like back to your homepage, for example, and that product is not on their homepage. So that was one thing that kind of came up there, is making sure that in the process of transitioning this, adapting in new situations, like make sure that you're carrying that same care that you take when you're in person with people through that new digital customer journey. So that was the big takeaway. What do you think about that, Brian?
So if I'm understanding correctly, which I believe I am, is that you should translate your real life human experience to the internet.
Yeah. Novel thought, huh?
This is a novel idea. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's not always capable in a one-to-one. Like if you are a restaurant, for example, you can't literally hand food through the internet yet. Science is always changing life around us. What we consider magic today might just be simple science in a few years. So
hand you food.
And here is your bowl of chili. Yes,
not right through the screen.
I would absolutely love that. That would bring a whole new level of lazy to my life, and I look forward to it.
Well, I am an avid Star Trek fan, and so the day that we can, how do you say, transport? Oh man, I will be the first one to test that. I'll take it.
Yes.
And imagine you just you order food and it's like transported to your plate.
Well, I mean, we're getting closer, right? Because 3D printers can use base elements of food components and actually print you like a hot dog or a burger or I don't know how sophisticated it is right now, but the initial thought of using I can't think of why I'm brain farting so much tonight, but the
3D printer.
The food thing in Star Trek. Yeah.
Oh.
Synthesis. I keep wanting to say the wrong words, but anywho, that thing, it's not here in the sense of taking random particles and then putting them together all magically in one fell swoop. But we're getting there, right? We've got a literal food printing machine. It's kind of the same, and that will evolve over time. It's cool.
As soon as you said that, and now I'm going to look like the lamest Trekkie. But I mean, it's just a matter of determining the product that you use, and in Star Trek, it's actually kind of hilarious that it's actually made of your byproduct, your waste, and and
It's broken down and recycled. It's totally
yeah,
fine.
it's broken down, recycled, and recomposited into, that's the word, right? Recomposited? Yeah, sure. We'll go with it. Into
I was right. It's the replicator.
Yeah, the replicator.
Oh,
The
replicator.
replicators, they recomposite the into whatever it is that you were wanting. And I hope for that day. That will solve world hunger, right?
Well,
Well, I mean,
perhaps.
sure it won't, because somebody will commoditize it that it's untenable for someone unless you make a certain amount of money.
Exactly. No, but no, I think the concept there though is exactly what we are trying to strive for in this whole new realm of things. Even though we've got the COVID-19 vaccine, the strain keeps changing, so we'll have different types of vaccines, and this current state of being may go on for quite a while still. So as business owners and operators, we still have to figure out, how do we consistently provide that same amount of value and uniqueness that we did in person through this digital format. And I think that if you can literally just take a step back, remove yourself from the current situation and say, how did I do it before? What were the ways that I said things? What were the exact words that I would say to people when I would meet with them in person that would help tip them over the edge, or even just provide value to them, right? So I think that when you take a known quantity of something that worked and you mimic the same thing that worked in that context in a new context, one, you got to test it and see if it works, right? But if you don't do that mimic and you just kind of do what everyone else does, in many cases, like the herd mentality for business owners, it's not great, right? So we can't just replicate over and over and over. We have to find that unique strategic position. Going back to our friend Chet the Jet, Chet Holmes, find your USP, your unique strategic position, and do that. And for many of us, like the member that we had tonight, it's just her, like it's being her. The way that she treats people is just her personality. So bring that element back into the digital space.
I saw a kind of, it wasn't a commercial, but it was a piece out there, because you and I both follow other local business blogs and Facebook pages, and I don't remember who it was, but they were showing a bike shop who has now taken to set up a camera and video on one of their. They had like a center bar that they had probably previously had no use for, and they ended up turning it into a TV stand, and now with a camera on it, and they were displaying the bikes and then showcasing the different types of bikes, and that was genius to me.
They actually said that they doubled their sales by doing that.
Okay, so you saw the same one?
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, I think it was. Well, I'm going to remember wrong, so I'm not even going to say it.
Yeah. But I mean, that right there, that simple idea of like, bring your customer in trying to decide what they are looking for, bring them into the room just as you would when they came into the store, and have a Zoom feed that someone could go into. I mean, right there, that simple idea of just having someone available to knock on the door. It's the one thing about Zoom that they don't have. Like when someone's in a waiting room, you don't get a knock. It should.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird, like there needs to be more than that little text on the screen that says so-and-so's in the waiting room. Like, all right, but what if I'm not looking at my screen?
Yeah, exactly. But if they could bring that in, you could have this kind of capability of almost like, treating the customer as if they're in the room, even if you're not physically in the room with them.
Yeah.
So I think there's so many different ways right now, and what we have to consider, and this is the part that drives me crazy, that people are not considering that what we're doing today, what we're doing during this pandemic right now, is an opportunity to come out of the pandemic, bring people back into the fold as you want them to. And you still have what is currently option A becomes option B or option C. Right. But now that's a revenue channel that didn't exist 12 months ago, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you can take what you learned during this time and now add a new revenue channel, add a new way in which you connect with your guests, to say, if you were a brick and mortar and yet you had the capability of shipping, you now have customers everywhere instead of just
Exactly.
customers in your physical distancing.
Yep.
Like, people don't have to be in your location anymore, because if you can fine tune the way you connect them, um, without human contact, if you can fine tune that now when it's an absolute necessity, then when we can return to, let's stop calling it norm, when we can return to a new, more in-person life again, you now have these two ways of doing business that you
Yeah.
maybe only previously had one.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the most interesting thing about for being forced into a new scenario as business owners and entrepreneurs. It is kind of our role to find that opportunity, right? And I think that it's really important to not get hung up in the I can't do this anymore mentality, right? Because it holds you back. And I think we have innumerable new opportunities because society has been forced into this new way of interacting and engaging with people. I still hear all the time, man, I just can't do Zoom anymore. I can't do Zoom. I can't meet online. It's like, why not? Like, yeah, it's different, but what the only thing different really is that you can't breathe on someone. Like,
Yeah.
you're still looking at their face,
Yeah.
and you, for those people that are talking on the phone all the time, regardless of COVID or anything, like they're not even looking at somebody. They're just talking on a phone. It's literally the same thing, except you can see people via the internet. I think it's brilliant.
Well, and Matt, you and I have a unique, I think, perspective in that. I mean, for those that don't know, Matt and I have not been in the same state or the entirety of our working relationship. And
Yeah.
the last time we were in regularly in the same room, 15 years ago.
We lived together.
Yeah. But, so we've conducted business together, never being in the same room, even before COVID. And so for me, I look at this as the apple cart was in the process of being knocked over before COVID. All of
Sure.
this technology was advancing civilization in some way, shape, or form, and advancing the way we do business. And now it's kind of given a forced, you got to all try to figure out how to do this. And it's just a chance to understand new opportunities and live in them and be in them.
Yep, for sure.
Yep. Well, this has
For
been
sure.
good. Hey, I want to say one thing that is before we wrap this up. The thing that I see, though, that is missing right now is that local businesses need to be a point where, if any government officials out there are hearing this, start distributing more testing through local businesses. Give them ways that are low cost and or free options for people to get take home testing, and we will reinvigorate our mainstream economy. I truly believe that is a key point that would both save us time, save us energy. We can always be COVID tested. I just got a COVID test today. If I didn't have to go down to CVS to do this, and CVS wasn't the only one valuing from this, if Frito Misto or All That Boutique and More, or some other brick and mortar out there right now that's owned by the public, but not just corporate. If they were given the opportunity to be a distribution point for COVID testing, they would have so many more opportunities to generate revenue.
Completely agree. I think that is a brilliant idea. And as we all know, small business makes up the majority of the revenue produced in the United States. So we can't continue to exist without small businesses and small business owners. So, large corporations are awesome, and they do serve a purpose. They make things cheaper, more accessible. But when we support our local business owners and support each other as local business owners, we're really helping the economy thrive. And I think that right now is the time where we need to really dig deep and refocus ourselves on making sure that don't rely on someone else to help the economy thrive. Like, it's our own responsibility as Americans to take that upon ourselves. That is the freedom we have in this country. We don't have the freedom to let other people do it for us and make up our minds for us. It's really up to us to do that. So wholeheartedly agree with you, Brian.
Awesome. Well, hey, Matt, it was good to chat with you.
Yes, good chatting with you too.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. So anything you want to say before we go?
The only thing I would say is, if you like this and you've never joined us for the mastermind, join us next week when we talk about a different topic. You can join us by going to locallinks.online /adapt. I think that's the right one. Or you could go to adapt.locallinks.online. I think that is the more apt one. That's the one I should be using. So adapt.locallinks.online. You can register for the next session. I think you can register for up to our next 3, maybe 4, if I'm remembering correctly. So join us. We meet every week on Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we're there for about an hour and a half. You get some education on the front end from myself, from guest speakers, from Brian, and then we jump into breakout rooms for the mastermind, and we spend about an hour in there. Each member gets 10 minutes to introduce themselves to the group, talk about how they help and serve customers and clients, and then present a problem or an idea or some sort of topic that they need assistance with to the mastermind. And each person gets about 10 minutes. Sometimes we go over, but yeah, you'll at least get 10 minutes of pure value that you can take and immediately action on starting Friday morning if you want. So yeah, it's cool. Again, just go to adapt.locallinks.online and register today.
And next week, we'll be featuring the community mom goal, making moms into moguls. Essentially, very, very good friend of mine and longtime just advocate of everything that we've been doing over here is going to join us, Raquel Kelly. And so look forward to it, and have a great rest of your day and be safe out there.